This podcast is brought to you by Independent Building Advice. IBA acknowledges traditional owners of the land and waters this podcast is recorded on. If you find this episode helpful, follow us for more so we can continue putting out free value for all homeowners in Australia. It really goes a long way. Enjoy the episode.
Today, we have got some real estate experts coming in who are here to chat to us about strategies with real estate, how real estate works best for you with your property, if you're going to sell your property, different ways and strategies to get the best results from your house, and get some insights into real estate if you're buying or selling, how to get the best results. So welcome, Linda and Jay. Good to have you on.
Thanks, Ben. Good to be on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, right. So, Noble Avenue is your agency. Linda, your last name's Noble. I mean, that's so convenient to have a name that you can name after. It's like my last name's Flaherty. You can't have Flaherty Avenue. It doesn't work. But Noble Avenue, that's quite convenient to have that name.
Yeah, look, I think it was a natural choice for us. I didn't want it to be Linda Noble because I did have the dreams and aspirations to have other agents work under the brand.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was, it's a strong name.
Yeah, it's a great name.
It served us well so far.
Yeah, well, noble, trustworthy, it comes together. You know, you wouldn't want to have, Dodgy Avenue. If your last name's Dodgy, it's quite convenient that you've got that last name. I think it's a great name. And Jay, how long have you been with Noble Avenue for?
It's coming up to 3 years. So
Yep.
It's been 3 years since I was there. So I've been in real estate for about 11 years now, 11 or 12 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 years with Linda, but I've known Linda for quite a long time.
Yeah, brilliant. So how did you guys meet?
Over a deal. So I had listed a property in her farm area.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I was in a different agency, and I think she called me to find out what I'd sold it for on Amalfi Drive.
Yep, that's right.
And we just got to chatting, and that's how it happened.
Oh, yeah, that's how good ones work.
I wasn't going to tell her the price, but I did.
Oh, yeah. You got to give them a little bit of rope, And what about you, Linda? How long you been in real estate for?
I'm coming up for 19 years.
Yeah, wow.
So I've been with the big brands for 12 and 7, just on 7 years.
With Noble?
With Noble.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, 'cause it's a big step going from working for somebody and then starting your own business. So.
And I think the transition was easy. It was easy when I was on my own. It's more challenging, obviously, as you have reps or sales agents underneath you.
Different world.
But I didn't change suburbs. I had dominated in that suburb for many years before I opened the brand. So it was an easy transition.
Yeah, because you mainly work out the Hillary sort of area. What's your sort of area that you both focus on?
Yep, so we're in the Northern Beaches.
Yep.
So Hillary's, Callaroo, Sorrento, Mullaloo is basically where my core business is, and Jay's a little further north than that.
I go into Iluka, Burns Beach, and then obviously across Marmion into Currumbine, and sometimes overflow into Connolly and Kinross. And then we've also got Nikki that bridges the gap in Ocean Reef.
Yeah, gotcha. So you got the whole catchment area and you know your areas really well and focus.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Do you find though that people, I know I've certainly had this with my friends before, that they go, I'm only going to live in these suburbs, and then when they actually find out what things go for, they realise, maybe a little bit further out, because what they could afford in their mind is very different these days.
It happens quite a lot with Linda and I.
Yep.
I think often I find they start off their search in her suburbs.
Yeah.
And then reality kind of sinks in after about a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then they move closer. And we just see that with the inquiries when we're chatting in the office, or this person just inquired, and Brett or Linda will go, they came through a lot of our home opens.
Yeah.
And they're starting to come through to mine.
Yeah, because I guess that's the reality of life at the moment.
Well,
it's going up so quickly.
The synergy that we have in the office because of the agents and the areas that they sell in, but also what we're seeing is people now aren't so suburb specific.
Oh, okay.
If they've got a budget of $1.5 million or $2 million, they will look, over multiple coastal suburbs.
Yeah, gotcha.
And even, Careen and Duncraig, there's not a lot of difference in the prices between them and us now either.
Yeah, I guess it's, I guess the closer you are to the beach, the more expensive it is. Is that sort of how it works? Or?
It is, but also like with Careen and Duncraig, it's across the road, but their school catchment is very popular.
Yeah.
That's,
We're building a few in Careen at the moment.
Are you?
And it's amazing, like, in the past, people go, we're in Careen, going, okay. And I've had them mentality of what it's going to be like. This thing's got like raking ceilings on the skillion roofs.
Yes.
The whole thing. And you go, well, actually, it's a prized area. It's really nice area. It's kind of leaps and bounds.
And Bayan, I think what we're seeing is that those outer suburbs have actually had more capital growth than the coastal suburbs.
Yeah.
So, the budgets have... I was at one yesterday in Kinross, and I think that property is going to go for a record price around the $1.2 million. That's just unheard of for that suburb.
Well, it's 2025. It's, just past the halfway of 2025.
Yeah.
What are price ranges that you're looking for the Hillaries? Like, what's a decent budget for Hillaries? What's a decent budget?
Well, our average sale price is 1.4 now.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
So Hillary's has two different markets, probably three, but two very different markets.
Yeah.
Harbour Rise is like its own suburb, and the average sale price there is $2,050,000. But for the majority of Hillary's, it's 1.4.
Yeah, it's crazy. Do you? And so for where you are,
Iluka's probably sitting around the 1.5.
Yeah.
That's your median sort of price at the moment.
Yeah.
Again, Delgado's what splits the suburb. You've got the coastal side of Iluka,
Yeah.
ocean side, and then you've got the original side is started at 94.
Yeah.
Over there, you're starting to get properties there for about anywhere from 1.3 to about 1.6.
Yeah.
On the other side, they're starting to go into the twos, mid twos, high ones, that sort of,
Yeah, magic. Well, your favourite house is going into Iluka, Riley. The one that's got all arches now. I'll have to show it to you.
Right.
Yeah, so it's going to Iluka. So hopefully, they're pumped. They should be starting hopefully next month.
What street is that on?
I knew you were going to do that too. I can't do it off the top of my head. But I'll tell you afterwards. I'll have to look up. As soon as I say it to you, say what street is it? But it's a block of land at the moment, so not much to look at. But I'll come back to you with that one.
Okay.
And also, I don't want to give too much away on the podcast. Wait a second, we're going to see it under construction. But no, they're great areas though, and I think what's a big driver, and correct me if I'm wrong, of property prices going up, is that people go to buy a property and they go, we missed out on that one. I put another, we've missed out on that one. And then eventually I don't know, there might be a real estate term for it where they're looking it through goggles of, oh my God, I don't want to miss the next one. Let's put in this crazy price. But then if you have everyone else putting these crazy prices in, all of a sudden it's just pushing that market further because they just want to get their home. And I think a lot of people finding homes, they find it exhausting. Is that what you're finding out there, that people are just offering higher and higher because...
They are. I think a lot of buyers are starting with a budget that's at the top of their limit already.
Yeah.
But when they see that house that they need to get and they're perceiving all of these other buyers as competition, that budget again goes up. I had a conversation with a buyer yesterday, Jay, who said, Jay, that's my name.
You spoke to yourself?
He said, we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel now. This is everything that we've got, but we need to get this house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know, but they bought it. They bought it for a great price. Like they bought it, it's set a record for the street.
Wow.
Yeah, so it set a record for the street, but they have they said our budget has increased $350,000 over the last 4 months.
Crazy, yeah. But I guess school catchment and things like that is probably a big driver there. I mean, we had that with our place that our kids went to a local primary school, and if we moved out of the area, they'd be kicked out. And it's like, well, we have to be in this area. I think that drives a fair bit of it.
Definitely, the schools are a big driver. For real estate prices, and you'll see young people coming in, and they might not be thinking of having a family, but they know that's a driver for them. What we see is that when buyers are missing out on properties as often as what they are now, when they offer on their next property, their mentality is straight away, how much do I need to pay, as opposed to how little can I get it for, and then let's start negotiations.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That game's long gone.
Yeah, well, that's it though. Like, and you thank you for your help the other day with my friend who was trying to. They missed out on it, but I'll tell you about that later. But the thing is though that it was crazy that when I was speaking to them in particular, they had this idea of what they wanted in a home, and the first thing I was asked was, "What are you trying to achieve? What do you want in a house? What are you looking for?" And they showed me a house they're going to put an offer in, and I said, "Which part of this house meets what you want?" And none of it did. But they'd sort of got this thing in their mind, we're so sick of looking for houses, we're getting desperate, that they were going to, they would have bought it, they would have settled, they would have moved in and gone, what have we done? And me asking as a friend going, why are you buying this? Because this doesn't tick any of those boxes you mentioned earlier. And and I built the home for them, which is a pretty good design, if I say myself. But they love that. They go, actually, our design is really cool, but So what? All the reasons you're moving for, you're ignoring now just to get a house. And I think people get crazy sometimes.
I see that as well. A lot of times the buyers that buy some of the properties that I put on, it's completely different to the other houses that I've seen them.
Yeah.
And the conversation that I have is, we're just done.
Yeah.
We just need to find something now.
Yeah.
It's ticking a few boxes. We'll deal with it now. We just need a place to live.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what sort of mindset should people have when they're looking at buying a house in this market? How should they be thinking about prepping themselves mentally for what's out there, what to put offer in? Like, should they be thinking, look, a range or?
Well, Ben, I think firstly, going back to what you just said about them looking at purchasing something that maybe wasn't ideal for them or on that, the list of inclusions that they were hunting for. We have never seen so many houses come back to the market within such a short period of time from previously transacting.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
for that reason?
I think they made a mistake. I think the FOMO was there. They jumped in, they offered, they felt like they won, they settled, they moved in, and they're like, this is not working for us.
Yeah, wow.
I think they just needed to make a decision so fast to purchase, and they just didn't take into account all the things that they were looking for. And the market's been kind. They're going to now resell the property, maybe get their stamp duty and agents fees, and in many cases make some.
Yeah.
So they're exiting.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting. Are you finding the same thing?
Same thing in my marketplace as well.
Yeah,
So
wow.
a few of the properties that have recently sold, I've sold it to them a few years ago.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's good for you guys.
It is. And they're making their money back and more.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the thing, though, is
Yeah.
that if you get in and get out, you can do well. Especially in the renovating game, you buy something that's a bit downtrodden, fix it up, bang it, put it back on the market, you can do well. But the risk with that is that if the market changes, you know, you can get caught. But obviously,
Didn't you recently have one that they just did a quick reno on it and the price went on?
Yes. And we're not really even talking a reno.
Yeah.
We're talking a bit of paint.
Yeah, lick of paint. Yeah.
And some carpet, and the property transacted within about 7 or 8 months.
Yeah, wow.
From one time to another.
And what was the jump?
1,950. And then resold it 2,340.
Wow, not bad. That's pretty good
Original
value from each paint.
1995.
Wow.
Built home, just different furniture.
Yeah.
But basically paint and carpet.
Well, it's amazing how colours make such a difference.
Huge difference.
And I want to get onto that today anyway about how people. Well, actually, let's talk about it now. How to present your house to really maximise your return. What are your sort of tips and advice around that?
So we're pretty good with that, like with our clients. And we were having this conversation before actually with. It's very important to kind of depersonalize, and I understand it's people's homes that they're living in, but it is trying to take it from that live mode to sell mode, and there is a difference.
I like that, live mode to sell mode.
Yeah, I think there's a huge difference in presentation, and we're finding that in our marketplace at the moment, properties that are presented better and presented well, whether it's with stage furniture, neutral colour schemes, new carpets and paint, are getting a much better response and a much better price than the ones that might be a bigger home, but completely original, that still has the suede finish walls from the early 2000s.
Yeah. Well, our last podcast had painters on there talking about they had a whole house with suede walls. It's not really me, but each their own.
With the sponge finishes.
I think they're hard to paint over as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's like we're really committing to this paint, this suede paint. But you're right.
The neutral colour scheme's very in at the moment, that neutral colour scheme, but people still like a little bit of edginess.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Bit of personality.
Bit of personality, but I think it comes down to the right house as well. Like if we've got something that was built in 1980s with face brick, you wouldn't have ultra modern furniture in there.
No,
it's
going to
be
work.
a stark contrast.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. They had on the block once, they had one of the interior designer people on there, and they said, look, if you have a broad range, like a broad palette of colour, then you'll probably appeal to a bigger market. But if you nail a theme or a style really well, that you get the right buyer in there that resonates, they go, wow, you'll get a premium. But you've got a narrower field. You've got to make sure you go get the right people. Do you feel the same? Or
I do. So I find with a lot of our properties that we sell, they're quite similar, like in terms of what they look like. And the style that everyone seems to fall for is still that coastal look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
That's the coastal look. That is what correct. That coastal look is what my buyers love. And because even when I opened the one on the weekend and it was all purely coastal and everyone's more interested in the furniture than in the actual house.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is styled beautifully. The furniture's beautiful. Do you reckon they'd sell the furniture?
Yeah, you're getting none of that, by the way. But yeah,
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
But that's what they.
It's
That's
that
what they
emotional
wanted.
connection. They
Yeah.
make an emotional connection with the property, with the styling, with the furniture. You really are, you can kick it out of the park.
Yeah, it gives people a really good idea of what that. I think it's that dream of relaxing, reading a book, or going to the beach and living your best life. Not working your guts out for the rest of your life trying to pay for it. But I think that styling works. And I've said it on the podcast a few times that I've designed amazing homes and people got the colours wrong and people don't like it. But then I've seen really, not that we design bad houses, but I've seen bad houses, terrible layout, but the colours are right and people love it. Oh, it's perfect. I want this house. So
Well, I think it's about selling a lifestyle.
yeah, absolutely. What about landscaping and gardening, that kind of thing, to get your house ready for sale?
Yeah, look, I think what we know is that the better a home is presented, the more we can achieve for the home, and it happens from the letterbox.
Yep.
As the buyer parks the car, walks out, takes the path to the front door, sort of looks up, looks around, guttering, painting, eaves. And I also think as homeowners, a lot of those things we get used to seeing.
Yeah.
But our experience is that, people are the view, the visual. It's just so important, and it happens from the letterbox.
I guess it's how they feel about it, like when they rock up that first. Because I've heard people rock up to the place and just drive on. Oh no, I don't like it. Yeah, like first. And it doesn't have to be the prettiest elevation, just make it look neat.
Yeah,
because they notice things wrong with it, not necessarily what's right with it. Is that
100%.
Well, they're either starting to add value or take value away. They're seeing something that looks good and the price is going up, and then something else looks good, and then they're reassured, or they're going in the opposite direction.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, and I guess like just clean up, do the gardens, do the basics. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
That fresh mulch, you cannot underestimate what that fresh black mulch
And
does.
smell.
Yeah.
I think smells.
Yeah, don't even manure, I use mulch, right?
Yeah. I wasn't going to manure, I was going to candles actually. I think you need to be careful of the scents and smells that you have in the home open.
Well, in the past, I don't know if you do it now, like they used to cook like biscuits or whatever in the cookies in the thing, and they have that smell. Is that a thing now? Or?
I think the sellers that actually bring that up, I find, are the older generation that go.
What are you trying to say, Jay?
It's the ones that they always go, should I bake a bread or should I bake some cookies? And we're like, no, we'll bring a candle.
A candle will do the job, buddy.
A candle does the job.
Well, you can leave the bread there and we'll eat it.
We were talking about that yesterday about the bakeries down south when you're trying to get bread from the bakery and it smells so good.
Yes.
So, it's amazing. But I would buy a house over that personally.
And it's simple things like even warmth in that house. Like we've had a really cold weekend, and one house that I opened has no heating or cooling at all.
Yeah.
It was freezing in there.
Yeah.
And it almost diminishes that property.
Yeah.
Because that feel like there's nothing you can do. And then we went to another one where it was just so warm and toasty.
Yeah.
And it was just a different feel.
What distracts you?
Completely.
It's cold. I mean, the house has to be cold all round.
Yeah.
No, it's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I guess it's all the senses, really.
It is.
You probably can't do taste.
You can't, no, you don't want to be
walls,
licking anything.
Each their own. If that's what you need to know about, But no, I think it's the more senses you can appeal to.
Yeah.
But I think it's that distraction of because my theory is, especially at display site homes with building, that people go through as a display village, and they might go in the old days. You go through like 25 homes, and people would walk in, walk out, and they weren't looking. They weren't doing this on purpose, but psychologically they weren't looking for the right home. They're looking for what's wrong with it, so they could then. It was a complete overkill of like mental fatigue, basically, because they'd go through it. I can't remember what the fifth home was, let alone, and I'm on my 19th house. I don't like the colour of that wall, and leave. And I think that's what's happening when people look at real estate, that they're nervous, they don't know what to buy, they don't want to buy the wrong properties, that they're almost looking for what's wrong. I think your job and the seller's job is really to mitigate as many of those problems as possible to make sure it works well. And then obviously then you can do the rest of your job. If they are showing interest, to get them on paper.
I think agents have improved, as far as information. We understand that people want a floor plan.
Yeah.
whether it's a 3D walkthrough, but a minimum of floor plan.
Yeah.
I think information.
Yeah.
Buyers want information, and they're making quick decisions. Let's just make it as easy as possible for them.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have built and they can probably read a plan more than others and see what rooms there are. Also, I think the great thing about a floor plan is when you're walking through a home, you're not really looking at it from a bird's eye point of view. So, like, how many bedrooms was this? But if you have a floor plan there, you can get an idea.
And a lot of people are taking those floor plans back and actually, because I see them come through the next home open and they've done their own squiggles on it.
Yeah, wow.
What are we knocking through? And then they walk into, this is the wall I was talking about, and they'll ask you that question. Do you know it's structural? If it's structural?
Yeah.
Yeah. They've already done their homework.
So many of the young
too,
guys.
Yeah, this is something I should pay attention to.
So many of the young guys are so skilled now.
Yeah.
The tradies.
Yeah.
So incredibly skilled. So, you can go into a home that they've bought 6 months later, and I'm just like, oh my God, did you have this idea when you purchased the home? Oh, yep, we looked at the plan, we saw, we worked it through. Yeah, unreal.
It's brilliant. And if they can think like that and can follow through with it, then they can clean up. They do well. So I brushed on it earlier and then I changed subjects. My thoughts with people when they're looking at buying property, they should probably sit down before in fact, we covered this on our second podcast, but actually sit down and go, what do I want to spend? And then what's the maximum I want to go to, just to protect themselves a little bit and have a bit of an idea. Because like you said, people are stretching themselves through desperation. You just want to make sure you're not a slave to your mortgage and that you've got it right. Is there other preparation things that you reckon people could do beforehand? Or?
I think a buyer needs to have a wish list of 10 things. And my thing is, if 7 of them are on there, it's a property worth considering. Because I also see a lot of buyers that come through my home open, and I've got this lovely family that comes through my home open. I've been seeing them for the last almost 3 years. And they'll get to the last minute and there'll be something and they'll go, no, we're not going to proceed. But they're looking for that perfect 10 out of 10. And I've said to them a few times, if you're looking to buy established, and for what it is going to be 7 out of 10.
Yep.
And you'll modify them. Because I've sold houses that people can walk in and say it's absolutely perfect, and it's not. Once they've moved in, there's things that doesn't work for them.
Yeah. And I love that. You got to adjust your expectations because build if you want the perfect house and then come see us. But yeah, you're right that there's not going to be everything there for you, but you can still adjust it and extend it and renovate it.
Absolutely.
To a degree, I mean, it can be incredibly expensive if you don't do it right. But yeah, I like that. Like, don't look for perfection because you're probably not going to find it, and that opens up a few categories.
Yeah, and I think that location is also quite important. Like sometimes we get a lot of inquiries, and because obviously with the market being so tight on stock, buyers are stretching themselves around to everywhere else.
Yeah.
But you kind of still need to have a vicinity of where you want to be.
Yeah.
Because I think I had an email 2 days ago and we're looking to buy a house and it said anywhere from Mandurah to Alkimos. And I'm like, well, that is such a big stretch because it doesn't just go down there. It's like
Kalgoorlie is beautiful. So
but that is a sign of the times because there is hardly any properties available.
Yeah, but you can't narrow that down. You type in Perth into realestate.com and there you go, choose one. Like,
exactly.
It's too broad. But I think you've got to look at it from that perspective. I also think that people have to, and you've touched on it earlier, just keep their mind open to what suburb they're going to be in. Like if you're not locked into school catchment and things like that, you might buy a little bit further away from the city or you might buy a little bit further inland, but you might get a great home in the price range that you want as opposed to be locked in. I'm looking for this great property because prices are still going up. They're going to go up for a while in my opinion. But like if you keep missing out on properties but your budget's not changing, you're eventually going to be left so far behind. You're not going to buy in the next best suburb before you're going to buy 5 suburbs away.
And we're seeing these people, and I actually really, you've got to feel sorry for them. They're indecisive. They can't make a decision. Call them carpet crushers, time wasters, tire kickers, whatever term. You have to feel sorry for them, because this market is getting away from them, and it's their indecisiveness. They can't make a decision because they may be too rigid. On what it is that,
like you said, they're not 10, 7,
So I do. I think they're definitely the minority, though.
Yes, and I think after a while, the wear and tear of we've been looking for 6 months now, still can't find something.
Yeah, we just got to get in.
And
that's the.
But hopefully you can just bring that further forward and go, okay, let's rather than wait 6 months, let's try and get to that realisation in a month.
100%.
So just changing subject completely here. What are different strategies? So let's say I'm selling my house.
Yes.
Again, I jump on realestate.com and I'm looking at different options, and some people go, price on arrival, or they go, contact agent or something like that. And I'm one of those people that go, well, if it doesn't have a price in there, we'll stuff it. I don't want to, I won't look up the listing, and then unless I'm desperate, then I will. What are some of the strategies from a real estate agent's perspective?
Well, you'd be struggling in the current climate.
Well, I haven't looked for a while, but my point is that, that's exactly right. So you're forced to do it, and I think most people don't like confrontation. And I think when they see that, they go, oh, I've got to call the agent. Now the agent's going to call me every week and pester me and have to give my name and number, and they're going to try and convince me into something I don't want to do. It's all too hard, and they don't like that. But there is a strategy behind that. And I was just curious of obviously every home's different. From your perspective, if you could shed some light on different strategies, like when do you auction a home and when do you put a price? When do you do contact agents?
So at the moment, and Linda will probably go into this, in our marketplace, auctions aren't as popular in our marketplace, but you believe that that's going to change? I
absolutely believe that going forward, we're going to see more properties auctioned. And more online platforms because the buyers are absolutely demanding better transparency.
Yeah.
They're missing out on properties maybe by 5,000, maybe by 100,000. It doesn't really matter. They would have paid that price if they had have known.
Great point.
You know, and I think what happens, and my other view coupled with that is I believe that many of the properties are selling too fast. I think the agents are leaving money on the table, and I think it's as a result of not running a processed campaign.
Yeah, because I guess the agent goes, well, if it's, I'm not saying you, but some agents would go, okay, 50 grand more, I could probably get 50 grand more, but it's sale, and I might as well take the
Look,
car.
we're seeing, the husband might be working up north. My husband will be back next weekend. Can I get him through? And I think that they think, well, maybe it's just easier to transact with this other person who's right here, right now, at this level. But what is the hurry?
Yeah.
When in a market where there's not a lot of stock, to run a process sale, and where I'm going with that is, with an end date on it, with a date that is transparent and yes, the seller definitely has the right to accept an offer prior because that's their right.
Yeah.
But, if it means that you're going to transact at a higher price, then I would think that would be the thing to do.
Yeah, well, especially if you're working with the vendor, if it's the vendor's best interest to do that. Yeah.
I am seeing a lot of properties, going on the market on a Wednesday and they're having their first open on Saturday. Sunday morning it says under contract. And I'm guessing they would have had 40 or 50 groups through. Yeah. The buyers haven't had a chance.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was buying my home and I looked at a particular property, I was out for dinner on a Saturday night, I went to see it. The agent called and said, if you want to put an offer, you need to put it in right now. The seller's making a decision within an hour. I haven't even had a chance to think about this. And I saw what it went for. I had a price for that property. It was more than what it went for.
Yeah.
But I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to go back and have another look.
Yeah. And the agent missed out. Yeah.
And the agent sold it. Sold it that night. The seller's probably happy with the price because the market
But had no idea the alternative.
They don't know what else was left.
So and I think that's what's happening quite a bit at the moment as well.
So on that note, like in the, again, you're the experts, but you have in the past where properties been on the market for 8 weeks. There's must be something wrong with it. It's stale, the whole thing. Has those timeframes moved forward now? Like, let's say it's on the market for a week. We've got, and so a friend of mine who owns an agency was saying one of his sales guys has been there for about 6 months. Has gone, mate, this place is not going to sell. It's been on the market for a week and no one's bought it yet. And they're going, mate, and he was freaking out that the market stopped. He's going, mate, that is like, whoa. And that's a newbie. But are properties getting stale? Do they appear stale to the public now? It's been on the market for 2 weeks.
I think if you have something that is stale, just wait a little longer.
Yeah, then it's popular again. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's good. Yeah.
Because, look, generally I think the stale properties, and we all have them from time to time.
Yeah.
It's generally presentation or that seller. I have one where it's complicated because they'll need to get an offer and then transact within a particular time frame, that sort of thing.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because if a property has been overpriced, generally now the market will catch it.
Yeah, catch up to it. Yeah. You haven't got the price yet.
Correct. And you generally will.
Just wait a little longer, and you'll
catch up.
You'll catch
absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Okay, so why do agents sometimes do, and it might not be now, but just in general, why would some agents do ranges like from this price to this price?
So I'm not seeing a lot of ranges at the moment in this current climate. We're seeing a lot of, obviously, expressions of interest is quite a popular one.
Yeah.
But I think the reason behind that is it is also very hard for us to ascertain what the house is going to sell for.
Roger, okay.
We've got a price based on that data that we can see, and you know what, that's a 4x2, this is a 4x2, it's got a study, it's got a pool, well, we'll add an extra X amount of dollars to it.
Yeah.
But the right buyers coming in, and it might be worth a lot more to them, which is why we're doing that sort of campaign at the moment, just to try and gather that interest.
Yeah, so walk me through how you do that now.
So for me, obviously everyone does it slightly differently. I generally always...
Well, yours is the right way, right? So
mine is the right way, so we'll go that way. So I have no price for the first 10 days, and that's always my strategy. I will always give a price guide when the buyer inquires, but it'll always be quite a vague sort of a price guide based on the inquiries that I'm getting.
So you don't say you can't afford it? No, I'm joking.
No.
If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
That's the auto reply that goes out. So in order, like at the moment, if we're trying to achieve something around that, say 1,750 or 1,800 mark, my current guide will be like, look, it could be anywhere in the mid to high ones based on recent sales.
Yeah.
But what we're looking to do is actually trying to get interest on this home to see where it's going to transact.
That's a fair response.
So I had one on the weekend, and it was quite a unique one. It's not finished, so it's half finished. There's a lot of extensions on the property, which does have approval, but which we think it does have approval. It's one of those, we're selling it as is.
Yeah.
Now, appraisals on that property was ranging anywhere from 1 to 1.3, that sort of mark.
Yeah.
And I've just said to the seller, look, we're just going to not put a price on it, and I'm just going to give a guide of early ones.
Yeah.
I had 105 groups through that house on Saturday.
My God.
105 groups. It went
How long were you open for?
30 minutes.
Wow.
105 groups through and I opened it again on Monday at 4 o'clock, thinking it's just going to bring the serious people back. We had 53 groups through there.
That's crazy.
4 to 4:30
on a Monday, like that's half those people. There would have been more people if they could get out of work or whatever.
Correct.
Yeah, wow.
And those sort of things. And now we've got offers on that one. Now they've had 3 or 4 appraisals, and a lot of them were on that lower end.
Yeah.
But with that competition, now it's sitting closer to the top end.
Well, you have to do that, yeah.
And that's the thing. Had I priced that house and looking at what else was there, we could have left money on the table.
Yeah.
Which is why I think, yes, it's important to give a bit of a price guide, which you do as well, but also not put all your cards on the table straight away. Because ultimately, we have to remember that we're not buying that house.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not fair for you to put a figure on it, because that figure, although you might be looking at something similar that sold 6 months ago, the world's a different world. So you can't really
enough to know that we don't know what the price is.
Yeah, that's it though. And I think I think that's a good way to look at it. That we can give you a range and a guess, but you can't really predict it. If you, like I was saying earlier, if you hit that right client that goes bingo, is exactly hits all 10. They're going to pay a premium for it because they want it. And yeah, it's interesting because I always thought when people put ranges, like it's really the top figure. And what the agent's trying to do is do the bottom so they can get interest and they can use their sales skills and psychology backgrounds. Like you've got Jada, bring them up, you know.
When I first started real estate, I remember an experienced agent telling me about the ranges, and this was quite a while ago. And apparently the lower range was the agent's price, the top range was the seller's price. And ultimately you just try and get in the middle of that, is what I was told. But I've never actually used the ranges. I've never liked it from the
that's what I was curious about.
Well, we would never put a ceiling on anything.
No.
Now.
Yeah. Well, so from, you know. Yeah.
It would always be from. Or, look, I think that our job is to be helpful.
Yes.
To the buyers. I think there's still a lot of agents out there that are not giving any guide or in reference to price. And, you know, I think that's really, really frustrating for anyone. I currently have a client who I'm selling for. He's a quadriplegic. They've got 2 small children. For them to get to a home open is almost impossible. As Jay said, you know, you're competing with 30, 40, 50 people. He's got to get out of a chair, out of a, you know, first of all, for her to get a car park that, you know, will allow the van to, and all the rest of it. And I think, you know, it would just be helpful if you would let them know a guide, and then they wouldn't come.
Well, you're actually not doing the agent any favours either, because it's too hard. Like it's too hard.
It's
like
just,
you know, where am I sitting? Like what? Give me a ballpark at least.
You've had a conversation with your seller.
Yeah.
Everyone knows where it's roughly sitting. Give that guide.
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
Unless you haven't had a conversation with your seller.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We'll just put it on the market and see what happens. Yeah, which is interesting. What about things like open negotiation, like those online apps where you can, just for people at home, that is and correct me if I'm wrong, wrong here. That's an app where you put in a figure for a property that you want to buy. It's all online. And then you can see what the highest bid is. It's like bidding on something like eBay or something. And then the higher figure wins it at the end by a set date. Is that how it works?
It is pretty much how it works.
Yep.
I'm personally not a fan of it,
Yep.
and I wouldn't use it if I was selling my own house.
Why?
And the reason for me is, yes, I want to be transparent, but at the moment, if you look at the transparency on there, it's going up by a couple of grand, and that's what it is. Whereas with our way of doing negotiations is we're giving buyers a guide and going, the top offer is sitting currently at mid 1.2s. In order to be more competitive, you need to be north of that.
Gotcha.
Then the buyer is now going to go to potentially 1.280 or 1.270. Whereas with the online platform, the buyer's going to go, I'll go to 1.252, 1.255.
Oh, so it's actually telling you can't type the figure in. It tells you the increment.
On some platforms, they're more transparent than others.
Yeah, okay.
Some will rate you, so you can see that you're sitting first or second.
Gotcha.
That's not always the case.
Yeah.
But I personally don't like the online platforms either, but I believe that they will become more popular, and I understand why.
Yeah.
Because I think that the buyers is just through frustration.
Well, I agree with what you said earlier. I reckon that's a great point. Again, my friend the other day, they put an offer in. The agent came back and said, Jay, you help me with this one. But they said, look, the offer you put in is too low. You have to go higher. Now, the client's gone, and that agent said, there's two other offers in. And first of all, the client's gone, bull crap. Second of all, I think my offer is solid, and put the offer in and said, this is what it is, and raised it, 70 grand or something, and I've got it. And then the agent immediately turned around and said, no, you haven't got it, bad luck.
They're bidding blind.
Well, that's it though. And you said it perfectly earlier. The agent turned around and go, well, we would have gone more. In fact, they had $400,000 more. They could have gone higher, but they don't want to get ripped off either.
And they only want to know if there was more transparency around that.
Yep.
And that's why I think that auction will come back. If you're standing shoulder to shoulder with a guy in the front yard and you can see what his bid is,
yep.
Then getting finance now has never been so easy. Mm-hmm. So getting yourself in a position to be able to bid at auction is easier than it's ever been. I think.
So you think? Sorry.
So I can see why these sales processes will come back into play.
Well, why wouldn't you do an auction?
Yeah. Cash, unconditional, 30-day
what's
settlement.
Involved separately? So,
well, I do think to a degree you are narrowing the buyer pool because a lot of people won't be able to get themselves into a cash and unconditional position to be able to raise their hand in a paddle.
Yeah, so you have to be cash only to do
There
that.
are some subject to finance auctions now that they're doing, but I don't really know.
But I mean, there's a lot of risk.
It gets a bit messy though, doesn't it, for the seller?
I mean, can you bid or can you not bid?
And it costs more to do an auction?
You pay for not a lot. I think it's the same as the online platform. There's a fee associated with that as well.
Yeah.
But I think, again, with the online platform, and I've got some clients that are probably older.
Yeah.
For them, going online and doing it is just not all. And I've heard them say to me, I just want the agent to call me.
Yeah.
Because the agent's saying, this is the link, go put it in. I don't want that. I want the agent to call me.
Yeah,
it's just a lot of personal.
They still want that personal touch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would personally want, that personal touch of an agent talking to somebody. Let me understand your circumstances, not just because, like you said, you might have a paraplegic, someone like that who wants to buy something. They've got circumstances, they can't get there, but they might have the money. It might be the best deal for your client. Yeah. But if technology is holding you back, that personal touch is why. But what is your problem? Oh, it's some random. Okay, we can solve that.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be. And go, okay, great. And I think that's that flexibility. But I'm sure AI will solve all this for everybody.
It will.
So, yeah.
Just ask ChatGPT. They'll tell you.
Solves all the problems. But as long as you don't use it for legal advice, it's a bit dangerous. So the best thing what you're saying at the moment is what you do is you're going to get people in. Get them to feel for it, have a chat to people, find out what they think, interest, everything like that. And then from there you get a better understanding. Ideally, someone puts an offer in that's over and above what you're thinking, or
give them a guide. Yeah. Give them a guide. Get them through the home open.
Be helpful.
Be helpful to them. Give them all the information that they need. From the start, before they come through that property, floor plan, all of those information that they need.
Yeah.
And I think after the first home open, don't rush.
Yeah.
Do another home open because not everyone can make it on the weekends, and we are dealing with a lot of FIFO husbands and wives. That want to come back through.
Yeah.
And if you need to stretch it out, do that.
Actually, I hadn't thought about it. FIFO would be a nightmare. Like I want my husband to see it or my wife to see it.
Oh no, sorry, it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. Well, and then the next one. We had one the other day, which I had near us. I don't know if you do this, but they had actually it might have been to rent it. But what they did is they actually shortlisted the people on applications to go through it. And no, actually, I think it was for a rental. So, and what they did, they shortlisted who could go through it and they only let 10 people through it.
Yeah.
And gave them a chance. But then I guess you're limiting your market.
I think there are some
rental,
sales agents doing that, because when I was opening the other one last week, this guy tried to call me about 3 times within a span of half an hour before the home open. Can you please register us for the home open? I said, you're more than welcome to come. He said, do I not need to give you my... And I said, no, you can just come through the home open.
How dare you?
We'll get your deed. But so obviously I think with the volume of inquiries agents are getting at the moment, they're just obviously just going, we can only take X amount of people through.
Yeah.
We want you to register before they're drilling them. But I look at that and I go, a lot of buyers, like I said, start with a budget, but you need them to come through, because they might say, look, I've only got a budget of 1.3.
Yeah.
Once they're through that property, I've often sold properties to people that have told me they've got this amount to spend and they bought something for 400 grand more.
Well, that's a big jump.
And it has. And it's happened so many times. And I think we don't know their circumstances.
Yeah.
We all want to try and keep in with our budgets, whether we're buying, selling, or renovating or building.
Well, 101 sales is you demonstrate value before price.
Yeah.
So you don't go, here's the price, oh, that's too expensive. Well, let me show you the value of it. So not seeing the product in person is, unless you can't get there or you physically can't, is crazy. So you see it and you see it first, and then people fall in love with it and go, oh, wow, this is everything I want.
Correct.
Yeah,
and it's one of the things
sense.
I always say to my seller, let the buyers judge your property based on its merits as opposed to the price that we're offering.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite a...
I think it's a great way to go.
Yeah.
Have you had many prices? Well, you probably have it daily, but do you get prices, you go, okay, it's definitely the max we're going to get for this is this, and then you go, mother of God, how did we get that figure?
We're being proven wrong all the time.
Yeah, wow.
All the time.
Yeah.
In some ways, I think the longer you've been in it, the harder it is to make that adjustment.
Yeah.
Because although we try not to have too much of an opinion on price, naturally we do.
Yeah.
And if you know your suburb as well as what we do, we have an opinion.
Yeah.
And we now know that can hurt us because we're so often wrong.
Yeah, well, that's it. But what you're doing is the right way. Come in, you tell us what you think it is.
Our job is to sell inspections.
Yeah.
Our job is to get people through the front door,
Yeah.
and then we just let the buyers take it.
And how's your poker face when people go, I think they're going to put it off this, and you go, wow, like, do you hang up? Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. It's all I do. Yeah.
That's where it is.
Like, really?
Especially when the first one comes and it is way above what you even thought it was going to
yeah.
go for, and you go, hang on a second.
Yeah.
And it's always usually at a Saturday night about 9:30 when it comes in, and you're like,
guess I'm not going out tonight. Yeah. But at the end of the day, though, I mean, that's the market. And I reckon if you asked all those people, how long have you been looking for? They've been ages, as opposed to this is my first day looking, because it's that adjustment, that rude awakening of, whoa, I had no idea. And you can read about it all you like, but when you're actually physically looking, or you go, wait, that place I have to spend that much to get that place, like it's, adjustment times. Yeah. How do you, because we could talk about this forever, but how do you see the market sort of going? Do you keep going up forever, or obviously it won't be forever, but what's your prediction for, let's say this time next year?
I think it'll continue growing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the frenzy will be as big as it was in the last few years, but I don't think our prices are going to soften.
Yeah.
I really believe that's still going to be competition.
Yeah.
And I think people will still need to come in and pay a fair to good price, as opposed to trying to get it for the hurt to bargain price, which is totally long gone.
Yeah.
And I think buyers that are currently looking to wait till the market comes down probably need to look at it again and go, let's get into the market right now.
We had a bit of catching up to do in Western Australia.
Yeah.
I think we had a bit of catching up to do to get in line with the other states,
especially with mining and the income.
So I think going forward is it's going to be good for the seller.
Yeah, no, fantastic. It's just you got to make sure if you're selling. I think a big thing is if you're trying to get top dollar for the house you're selling, don't forget you're probably going to be paying top dollar for the house you're buying. So be aware of both. I had an old boss of mine said to me, look, you just got to make sure that you get a good price for what you've got, a fair price, but just remember you're going to get...
Because ideally you do want to, like in a market that is slowly going on an incline, you want to try and transact in the same market.
Yes, yeah.
You don't want to sell and then wait 6 months, because that's probably obviously moved again. Yeah. And you've just...
And I think this is the frenzy that's happening. If you have to sell, most people have to sell to be able to put themselves in a position to purchase because their equity is in their home. And if you're subject to sale, you're not looking so great.
Yeah.
So you just don't want to be in a position where you have to sit out for too long. So they're jumping in quickly. They're jumping in maybe to a house that's not ideal for them. It may have unapproved structures. It's no big deal now.
It's just a Wednesday.
So let's just jump in and not sit out and I think that's very much the mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you do that forward prep, like you said, list your 10 things. You know, what are your must-haves, you know, and again, like your kitchen, go to a house, mate, love the layout, love the floor plan, the whole thing, but do you know what, the kitchen's not big enough? Do you know what, we can do something about that. You know, on that note though, if people are thinking about building or renovating, big tip for them is try and get a house bigger than what you want and then move walls around internally. Not that that's necessarily cheap, but it's cheaper than extending if you're extending, and that's a conversation people can come and talk to us about. But at the end of the day, if you want a 4-bedroom and a study, also you want a 3-bedroom and a study, and there's a 4-bedroom home, well, great, buy that because you can turn the 4th bedroom into a study. Don't get a 3-bedroom home and have to extend to get into a world of pain.
Well, I think it's the same. We sold one on the weekend. There was they called it a utility room. It was an ideal granny flat.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was detached. It had all the
plumbing and everything else.
Everything that could be hooked up. I think, you know, it was a few years ago someone would say, oh, and we have a granny flat. And you'd be like, oh, really? Well,
I guess
we need to find a granny. Yeah. But now, you know, since COVID, whether it's an additional workspace, whether it's Airbnb accommodation, whether it's family coming over for long periods of time, the value for someone with, you know, a separate living space is huge.
Yeah, well, we find it now that we used to be the 4 times people bought was first home, young family on the way. Generally, kids are getting teenagers, you have to expand your home and then downsizing. Yeah. But we're finding a huge amount of people coming to us going, okay, kids are at uni, they got girlfriends and boyfriends or whatever, and they're not leaving ever, and they're not even planning on leaving. Correct. Let's extend, and it's like, are you crazy? You're going to downsize soon, and go, well, no, we're not. These kids are going to be here till they're 30,
100%,
and they're not buying a house without their parents' help. You know, it's certainly the way it's going. So it's interesting, that whole new market now. So granny flats, and what you can rent a granny flat is ridiculous, which is great income for you. But we do have to wrap this up eventually, because I reckon Riley, if I look out of the corner of my eye, Riley's looking at me going. But the reality is like, it's been great talking to you. We'd love to get you back on again in the future to talk about all the other stuff we didn't talk about. But we've got the question we ask everybody.
Yes.
You had $10,000 given to you, you get a letter out of the blue. Oh my God, you got to spend $10,000 on your new build or renovation extension. You just done a renovation with your place. What would you spend the $10,000 on? We'll start with you, Jay, and I'll go to you, Linda.
For me, it's an outdoor entertaining space. Everyone's very much into their outdoors. I think a really sensational outdoor entertaining area, improvements around the pool, outdoor kitchens, those sort of things, fire pit.
Beautiful.
That's a lifestyle.
Fire pit. Yeah.
That's a lifestyle that people are going for.
Yeah. Which one of those? Because $10,000 is not going to get you very far. That fire pit might be a bit of firewood.
That's how I do all my renovations. I've got a budget. I've got a massive list, and then I have to pull it back.
You list of 10 things, you get one. Yeah.
I would probably do the outdoor kitchen.
Yeah. Amazing.
Outdoor kitchen.
Yeah, amazing.
That's what I would do.
Look, like an outdoor kitchen, like Australian lifestyle, hot weather, go out there, chill out. I mean, most people can cook out there all year round.
That indoor-outdoor seamlessness is so popular.
Yeah, I love it. Well, my favourite thing to do with design is actually have a kitchen off the alfresco. Yeah. So you can go from the inside of the kitchen to outside. Sellers. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Linda?
I think you can't do better than paint.
Paint, yes.
Yeah, I think you can't do better than paint. The smell of fresh paint, the clean lines. Biggest bang for buck is paint.
Don't sniff the paint. I don't think that's what you're getting at there. Just the smell of paint.
We already talked about we're not going to lick it. So.
That's true. Then you get scratch and sniff paint. But you're right though. Look, it's amazing. If your house is feeling old, just paint the walls a different colour, freshen it up. It's great. And paint these days, I mean, it's not that hard to paint it again. But I agree with you. It's a really...
I think it's your biggest bang for buck is paint.
I love it, choosing the right colours, that's a whole different story. But no, I think it's great. And, I think if you can get it right, maybe do that suede finish that you're talking about. Maybe
with the sponges.
It's going to be back in fashion eventually.
There's also a metallic one.
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember the metallic one.
We're actually doing one with the paint that you see on the last podcast. I'm talking about you can do a blackboard wall. Obviously, you've probably seen that before, but you can actually do a whiteboard wall. And it's a really expensive paint, and you paint the wall, and you can actually write on it like a whiteboard marker.
Oh, wow.
But I just think you just buy a whiteboard.
Yeah.
But yeah, each their own. But hey, look, thank you very much for coming on. Noble Avenue, you guys are jets of what you do. If you're in the northern suburbs, I'm sure you actually look at others outside your suburbs as well, but you specialise in a particular area, which I think is great because I think, again, my friend who was buying the other day, the agent was not familiar with the area and I think was not familiar with what things really went for in the area, and they're a bit shocked. You see it on their faces a little bit. And I think that if you're in your areas, specialties in that area, knowing it back to front, knowing the clientele, how to speak to people, the whole thing, I think goes a long way for getting a great result.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Beautiful. Thank you.